Hello and welcome back to another edition of Delectably Different in the Kitchen. Today we're going to be making a vegan pumpkin cheesecake.
Vegan cheese. That doesn't work. That's like saying veggie burger or like vegetarian burger.
Those are real. And so is vegan cheese. It's alternative.
This guy.
Have you never had a veggie burger? Okay. Take your pineapple with you, by the way.
No, that's for you. That's beautiful.
But those are pumpkins.
Yeah. It works.
All right, to start out, we're gonna have 2 cups of crushed graham crackers in the bowl already. And you can use the method of using a food processor, or I used a nut grinder that I just put the cookies in, grind them up to where they're a medium fine grain. Now, since we're doing this vegan, a lot of times people would use butter in normal graham cracker crust. You're gonna actually put in a tablespoon of sugar to the 2 cups of graham crackers and 3 tablespoons of coconut oil. And I prefer to use a fork when I'm mixing this because you want to kind of mesh it all together until you have a nice wet sand-like consistency. Once we have this all together, we're going to put it in our greased 11-inch springform pan. Alright, now that we have our graham cracker crust in our springform pan, it's time to move on to the actual cheesecake itself. So we're going to be needing 4 8-ounce containers of alternative cream cheese. I'm using a Foodie brand that's non-hydrogenated, and I already have 2 that I'm whipping up, and then we're going to have 2 more that we're going to add once this is already creamed. Now we're adding 1 2/3 cups of organic Bob's Red Mill sugar. Next, we're going to be adding in a 1/4 cup plus 2 tablespoons of Bob's Red Mill tapioca starch. And if you find it at your store as tapioca flour, they're interchangeable. They're actually the same thing. So if you can't find starch, you can go for flour. If you can't find flour, you can go with starch. Now we're adding 1 tablespoon of vanilla extract, followed by our spice blend, which is 2 teaspoons of cinnamon, 1 teaspoon of nutmeg, and 1 teaspoon of clove. And finally, we're going to be adding in the 3/4 cup of pumpkin puree. Just be sure that you scrape down the sides as you go because you want to make sure that you're getting all that possible cheese that's sticking on the bottom whipped up so that you're having a nice blended texture. All right, now that it's all prepared and we have it in our pan, we're gonna place it in the oven. And make sure that you have some kind of cookie sheet or pan to put it on top of because we don't want any leakage at the bottom of the oven. It doesn't happen often, but just in case, we wanna make sure that the cookie sheet will catch anything that might run over. All right, we're gonna let this bake for 1 hour and 15 minutes. After that, we're gonna turn off the oven and let it sit in the oven for another hour. Now that it's already baked for 1 hour and 15 minutes and it's actually set in the oven for another hour, it's time for us to take it out and place it in the fridge for several hours to let it set up. You'll know that it's fully done and set up if when you go to kind of move it, it doesn't jiggle any longer because we don't want a jiggly cheesecake. We want it nice and firm. All right, now that we've let our cheesecake set in the fridge for several hours, I sometimes will actually bake it the night before and let it sit overnight. That way I know for sure it's all set up. We're gonna actually pull it out and we'll be able to release the springform, set it on something pretty, and there we have it. You have a delicious, healthy, vegan, gluten-free pumpkin spice cheesecake. If you want to have a nice, delicious topping, you can check out my blog. I have a delicious salted maple glaze for this particular recipe. So you can check out my blog and get that delicious recipe, or you can check out some of my other recipes as well. And until next time, have a wonderful Thanksgiving.